Hi everyone, I'm just checking in. I'm making a quick video just before I go paragliding over the Colombian countryside. I'm not nervous, it's fine. But just in this brief waiting time, we're waiting for the wind to pick up. I thought I'd make a quick video about something that's on my mind at the moment. It's always on my mind, you're always on my mind, but about the B in our model of association, which is ENABL. So E, empathy; N, non-judgmental; A, active listening; and B, boundaries. L is for listening. So empathic, non-judgmental, active, boundaried listening. So I think that boundaries are probably our conscious acknowledgement and practice of boundaries is the thing that really distinguishes us as a network of parents to other parent groups. And it was inherited from the time that we were, some of us were working in the peer support network, the befriending service at Scope. But the thing about boundaries is that we maintain them ourselves, okay? People do not maintain our boundaries for us, okay? So I'm just going to say that another time, slightly different. We look after our own boundaries. It's our responsibility to say no if we don't want to do something. It's nobody else's responsibility to be looking after our boundaries. It's nice if they do. It's called respect. It's called honouring our boundaries. One would hope that most of the time people do that, and I think they do. I think it's just common courtesy, decency to respect another person's boundaries, and I think it's a lot easier to respect another person's boundary than it is to actually maintain our own boundaries. So I'm, for example, on a holiday at the moment. I know we all go on holiday, hopefully most of us do anyway. I know it can be really hard sometimes. I'm not here with Yana. Obviously, taking Yana to Colombia would be really, really impractical and possibly dangerous and stupid. So I'm here on my own, and this is my private life, right? So my boundary, it's my judgment call as to whether I tell you about something that I'm doing in my private life. That's the boundary, and it's my responsibility to make that judgment call. If somebody tells me that I'm not entitled to make that judgment call, then they are looking after my boundaries, and theoretically that's just dubious. It's a dubious position when somebody forcibly takes responsibility for your boundaries. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's healthy that another person is looking after your boundaries. So for example, if you've just got a diagnosis of your child and you're desperate for some help and you're just going all over the place, like nobody wants to help you in the local authority, so you're just talking to parents, and then you end up kind of telling everybody about everything, and not everybody is a good person, sadly, and some of us have the privilege to explain that to our children as well, that there's some bad people in this world. So it can be a little bit complicated to go around telling everybody everything, and it is healthy that statutory authorities will kind of step in and maybe look after your boundaries a little bit just until you get back on your feet. But that should really be very soft touch. It should not be directive. It shouldn't be it's not a safeguarding issue, probably, most probably it's not safeguarding, it's just helping you to get your balance back, because it's really disorientating. If you get a diagnosis of autism, you get a diagnosis of a rare disease like Batten disease, Down syndrome, cerebral palsy, it's all just really disorientating, and sometimes we just give away our power to people who may want to abuse it. So we do have to be careful, but in general, and mostly, we are responsible for looking after our own boundaries. So if somebody were to tell me that I can't make a video and post it to you guys, then that is them looking after my boundaries, and that's called an adult to child relationship. It's an adult probably knowing better than the child. So I was just looking over there because I think my paragliding thing is about to happen, and that's wrong. Like, an adult-child relationship is inappropriate when it's adults involved, and it completely goes against the concept of boundaries. Mostly when people are telling you that they want you to practice boundaries, they're doing it because they want to get something either for themselves or for what they can see as the bigger picture, what their perspective of the bigger picture is. But that's just not how ethically it should work, right? Because we're adults. So adult to adult relationships are where we trust each other to make the correct judgment calls at the correct time, and if it steps on anybody's toes or it hurts anybody's feelings, as adults we tell that person, and we tell them using compassionate communication in a kind way, and that's an adult to adult relationship, and that's the underpinning of self-management. I know I've said it a few times, I will keep on saying it, this Peer Support Network is moving inexorably towards self-management. We're really just at the very beginning. I've taken this job at MenCat for a couple of years, but I will be coming back full Fathom 5 at some point in the future. So we just need to keep things kind of on an even keel whilst we develop various different aspects. But we are going to be increasingly moving towards self-management, and that means we'll be treating each other like adults. And if you want to disclose a part of your private life to this Peer Support Network or to anybody else who you work with in terms of co-production, that's your job. That's your job to decide. It's definitely not my job, and I'm definitely not managing anybody here. Technically I am managing the EPATS facilitators, and that has to develop over time as well. But yes, I am managing the EPATS facilitators. But hopefully, as time goes on, we will develop self-management within that as well. Okay, that's all I wanted to say about boundaries. ENABL, empathic, non-judgmental, active boundary listening. B is boundaries, boundary listening. I'm now going to fly into the blue yonder, and if I don't come back, can somebody look after my last will and testament? That would be appreciated. And can you tell Yana that I love her? I leave all of my notebooks to whoever fights hardest for them. Nobody can read my writing anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Okay, or just under 10 minutes. See you later.